Great. It's going to be great. Have
Good.
a great win from last week.
You consulted Karnak or what?
No, sir, not this week.
Tell him my age,
I
too.
know it.
Okay?
Who is that? Johnny Carson. I think.
Yes.
But a lady came over to me during the week. Her name was Tina, and she's part of the Texas Hill Country Nurses Guard. And they're going to be having a great event this week on May the 3rd at the Kerr County Courthouse at 10 a.m. That's Saturday.
Okay.
And it's honoring all the nurses.
Here for the nurses.
Yes, and this is the week. Did you know I saw a poll the other day? Nurses are the number one group of people that you can trust.
Of course.
Number one. I just love that. So anyway, recognition of Nurses Week, which begins May 6th, but the event's going to be on May the 3rd. And you know what really, though, just made my day is we tell everybody, write down the word for the week and use it.
Yep.
She and her husband write down the words, and they use them during the week.
That's fantastic.
Don't you just love that?
Yes.
I am so excited. And by the way, they're going to love the word for the week this week, just like you do, Rick. I know this is your favorite word.
Yes, you made me almost choke over it.
It's common sense. Common sense. Common sense is like gumption. It's initiative. And
I think it's been eliminated from a lot of DNA.
we're going to talk about that. But let's look at the definition. It is sound, practical judgment concerning everyday matters or a basic ability to perceive, understand, and judge in a way that is shared by or common to nearly all people without the need. You cannot get a master's degree in common sense. There's no school that teaches it.
It should
So
be.
you don't, there should be. We should be given specialized knowledge for common sense. But it comes from, of course, the great Latin term of sensus communis, used by
It's
Aristotle.
easy for you to say. Okay.
Yeah. But Mr. Aristotle, you remember him a long time ago. Common sense is an internal sense unified, a common internal sense unified and made sense of the information that is around our five senses. And then during the Age of Enlightenment,
Okay, let's see. Hearing.
okay, now you're counting, involved to mean practical wisdom that every average person could get without needing any scientific or philosophical training. Now, guess what? In 1776, you don't remember this, but
A few years, they were a little earlier than.
a little earlier, that's
earlier,
right.
but not much.
1776, though, Thomas Paine wrote his little pamphlet,
Right.
and it was called Common Sense. Believe that. So he was the first guy. Now remember, he wrote this in 1776. So he was the first one to write down, to openly call for independence in the new colony. He was the first one when he wrote that little pamphlet, Common Sense. Now the other thing that he did, he put up a vote for the republic government and its elections. So he mentioned creating a republic. But he was openly criticized he criticized actually the monarchy and any hereditary succession in the government. So he just went out and started it. Common sense does not require any specialized training or education. Anybody can use it. It is efficient, leads to quick decision making without complicating the issues. Common sense.
Ooh.
Okay. It's very relatable. Oh, I love that sound. It is relatable, and it goes across people with different backgrounds. There is a mutual understanding. practical wisdom is common sense, and it's often more valuable than all the theoretical knowledge we have. And I love what I was looking up some quotes about common sense, and I love what Benjamin Franklin, he is the guy.
Yeah,
He had common sense, right?
yeah, he did.
Okay, so he said, common sense is something that everyone needs. Few people have it, and none think they like it. Lack, L-A-C-K, like it. Everybody thinks they have it, but they don't know how to use it. And then Thomas Paine, of course, when he wrote that pamphlet, he says, a long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right. And so I really believe common sense and gumption, our favorite word, go together. It's very subjective, and what seems like common sense to one culture or one person may not be to another. In other words, different cultures look at common sense differently. And if we over-rely on things that seem obvious to us, sometimes that can prevent scientific discovery or even thinking about things, because they're saying, oh, we can just take care of that. And actually, people that really are strong in common sense in the way they think, they can actually become very arrogant that we know something you don't.
So let me stop you there.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So if it's something that's wrong and you constantly hear it that it's supposed to be right, you suddenly believe that it's right and not wrong.
That's right.
Okay, I'm
You okay? All right. Now, remember,
clear as mud.
clear as mud. But Benjamin Franklin, his wisdom, his aphorisms, he said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And then, of course, Abraham Lincoln, he demonstrated balancing complex national issues with clear, practical thinking. And even today, in our modern time, people are saying Warren Buffett, he has a straightforward, understandable principles to investing and into his life. So let's talk about why. You had brought this up when I tell you what the word was, but let's talk just a second about why common sense and gumption are not prominent today.
Okay, yeah, that was my question.
That's right. That
I
was
thought
your
maybe
question.
over the generations it lost its.
No, okay. Here's what causes it. Right now, in the modern age we live in,
Yeah.
we have what is called information overload.
No.
Uh-huh.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm not kidding. All this endless data. We have experts coming out.
No
and-
wonder I've had smoke coming out of my
Yeah.
ears.
And the other thing is there's some of the systems we have today
Yeah.
are very complex. Some of the stuff that we've come up with. So we've just got overload of information, and especially with the media putting out things that are not true. So an overload,
Oh my, is that true?
that's not common sense. Not even true. All right. Then, because of all the applications and all the different devices we have, we depend on technology. People do not do any creative thinking.
That is a fact.
And then I think one of the biggest reasons is there is really no use of the word gumption. And gumption is your initiative, making that decision quickly. We don't teach our children. They have to go through struggles, because trials in our life, they're going to happen. We know things are going to happen. There's going to be bad news. There will be things that will happen to us. And we need to make a decision and to handle them, but handle them in a practical way. And what happens is you lose so when you lose your gumption, you lose your grit. That grit is for the long haul. Get into life. We talked about commitment last week.
Yep.
And there are people that should be making long-term commitments for things like marriage, parenting, all those decisions. Your career, make a commitment to what you're going to do. So we've lost that. So that loses resilience. We don't stay in the game. People just want to give up and quit and walk away. And then there is a tendency today to over-specialize. And then another reason is in our culture, in our politics, in our identity, we have cultural relativism. In other words, remember we said that in common sense, different cultures would even look at it differently. And so common sense is no longer common. And then I told you about some people that really have common sense might be a little arrogant. The really sensitive ones, though, might be afraid of offending other people. So they can be insensitive and maybe just too blunt. You ought to do it this way.
Oh, I know a few people like that.
That's
yes.
right. Yeah.
It's either my way or the highway.
That's right. So we need to see things as they are and then do the right things. You got to be before you can do. And so what do you think about all that, Mr. Phipps?
Common sense. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to come and see you.
Thank you, sir. Kenneth O'Neal, every Monday morning.
Every Monday morning. You'll never know what the word of the week is next week unless you listen in. And you can call me, and I might even tell you on maybe Sunday afternoon.
All right.
I might give it up.
You can email him at merger@windstream.net.
That's correct.
And call him. He's got the number.
Yeah, 830-285-7010. That's in the Texas Hill Country. Come and see us.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks
have a good
again.
day.
Have a good week.
You
All
bet.
right, wonderful.
Bye.